We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned.
We're gonna call it that.
Don't Believe the Hype.
So we are going to have a little brief chat with the set lists that we've seen, because we've seen for specifically the UK tour, where they have certainly changed it up a tad, thrown some surprises in there, haven't they? To say the least. So let's just get it out of the way. On Monday, the first gig in Bristol, they did Mardy Bum as the opener, which was, I think, a shock. Not so much just a shock that they would do it, because, I mean, a little bit of a shock that they would do it at all. I probably wouldn't have said it, but to open with it, I never would have thought. I guess the thought process was, it's our first ever stadium tour. We're back in the UK. Let's go out. Let's open it with a Stone Cold classic from the old days. Is that probably the thought process that we're seeing? And they certainly did that. I imagine everyone. I saw a few faces in the crowd from the video, particularly a video you sent me earlier that was a bit closer up from certain angles. You can see people turning around when they hear, because you hear that, you get that feeling, don't you, when you don't know the song is coming and you hear the riff and you're like, oh, this feels suspiciously like they're gonna play Mardy Bum, and then when it kicks in, it must have been quite a moment, really. So I'm a bit jealous, because we'll know that there's going to be something, but they had no idea that something like that was coming. But do you think Mardy Bum has carried on into Wednesday night's gig in Coventry? Do you think so? Are we saying we definitely expect? Are you definitely expecting to hear Mardy Bum tomorrow? Yeah. Obviously, it wasn't the opener. They moved it to, what was it like? It was before Mirrorball, right? So it was about, yeah, from what I can see here. By the way, it actually probably would be Teddy Pickerview from the afternoon, about 20 minutes in, by the way. So that was a hell of a guess. It's almost like I've been staring at the set list for the past 4 days. So they threw in Mardy Bum towards the end of the set, really, wasn't it? Mardy Bum, there better be a Mirrorball 505 Body Paint, which is what a great end to the set. I mean, they are getting to that point, aren't they, really? Because when I saw Elton John last night, and there's just so many, bangers. There's a portion of the set that only people that are big fans might know over the years. Yeah. And then there's just bangers and bangers. They are at that point now where there's enough big songs that people know and have gone back to that they can structure the set in a way where everyone's happy. So there's people that are moaning. I mean, I'd be happy if I went and they played any of songs from the catalogue, to be honest. But there are certain, like Fluorescent Adolescent being back, considering we're talking about it tonight, it's exciting because it's like a summer festival tune, isn't it? It's going to be sunny tomorrow. We're going to be pretty drunk by the time they come on. It's going to be, is it still light when they play Fluorescent? No, it's probably going to be dark by the time Fluorescent comes on. I'll get in there. But it's going to be that kind of nice festival feel. And we're going to hear Fluorescent Adolescent. That feels like a good place for it. Feels like a good song to have back, I'd say, from that point of view. Big Ideas came in last night. And then as it wasn't in on Monday, I don't know what song was in. I don't know what it replaced last night. Was it My Propeller? No, they did My Propeller. My Propeller's back. I should say that, by the way, for humbug fans.
We've got the contentious issue of it being Suck It and See or Cornerstone.
It's a contentious issue. I mean, preferably, it's not really contentious, but it's contentious in the fact that your favourite song is Cornerstone. Is it your favourite song? Yeah, your favourite song is Cornerstone.
Yeah, but Suck It and See is my second favourite. So
Suck It and See is my favourite. God, I don't know what to start and what my second favourite would be. But yeah, so they took out. They played Suck It and See on Monday, and they took it out and put Cornerstone in last night. I think Cornerstone's always got a life in the set in future tours, whereas I don't know if this could be one of the last times we hear Suck It and See. But then you never know with these boys. So I'd rather Suck It and See anyway, because it's my favourite song. Obviously. It's just different, innit? And it's. I mean, you've got a theory that they're going to open. Now, I think that they opened with Mardy Bum because it was the first gig of the stadium tour, and the plan on the set is actually to always open with Brian Storm. But they opened with Maribum because it was the first one, and now the set that we saw last night is roundabouts where it's going to be from every night. I don't think they're going to. You think that they're going to tomorrow they're going to take an old classic, right? But you see, the only way I don't see it is because I wouldn't class Bryanstorm as an old classic because it's never left the set. So if they'd have opened last night with like When the Sun Goes Down, for example, I would have been like, okay, they're doing something here. But because it's just with Bryanstorm, which has always kind of been at the opening of the set for the past 15 years. So I don't know if that's the case. I hope you're right, and I hope they do open with like When the Sun Goes Down or Certain Romance, or because if you're going to say old classic, you've only really got where do you draw the line at old classic? First album, second album? I assume you're including first two albums. That's
I'm thinking something from the first album. I still think they're going to open with Ritz tomorrow night. That's
a bold claim. Have they played Ritz yet? I didn't really get a chance to look much at last night's because I was
no, they've played View From.
Played View From, no Ritz.
Well, Ritz has been it's interesting in and out along with View From for a while. So
it's interesting how they've changed the set because they've taken out Pretty Visitors, which I was expecting to just be in there. But they did on Monday night, they did a little interlude in Arabella, but I haven't got that on Coventry, though, from last night. It just said, oh, no, there it is. Yeah, Pretty was outro. They're slipping it into Arabella as a little teaser. So they've decided to lose
We'd all like to slip it into Arabella, mate.
Yep, definitely. So they've took that out and they've decided to put My Propeller in. Where do you stand on My Propeller being back in? Are you excited by that?
I mean, I'd rather have had like Dance Little Liar from that album, but yeah, I'm happy with My Propeller. It was a favourite of mine for a very long time. That was so.
It's a good live song. I think I'd rather have the full Pretty Visitors just still in there, probably, because it's always a good live song to hear, isn't it? Yeah, but I can live with it. But it's always good to hear some songs live that because I've probably heard Pretty Visitors since Humbug came out on every tour, I'd imagine. I think it was there. Maybe Suck It and See, maybe not. I can't remember, but yeah. Which albums won? I was trying to think this earlier because we've got. In the set so far, it's fairly balanced. I was trying to pick out which albums of won. Is it AM? Possibly.
Yeah, probably.
Is it Favorite Worst Nightmare's got a few in there though? The Car's lost, and the Car and Tranquility have lost the war in this. They've decided, which I think.
Unfortunately.
Well, I think even though it's the Car tour, I think the fact it's the first stadium tour has made them go, well, we want it to be rocky and fast, and we want to have that for our first stadium tour is probably a lot. You can
still have the pandemic effects to that as well. They've not been out on the road since before the pandemic, and that's
very true.
Even though it's all over, that makes a difference to things.
I mean, there's still Sculptures, Body Paint. I mean, none of them. Sculptures, Body Paint, Big Ideas, Mirrorball. So, I mean, if you had to pick the ones that were gonna, apart from Hello You, perhaps, I suppose you'd go, okay, well, the Car and Mr. Schwartz. Yeah, I could see why they might not want to have that. A perfect sense in the set when they're trying to do this bombastic UK stadium tour. Yeah. Mr. Fantastic Sammy. And they're gonna have, yeah. So there's not. I think they've picked the ones that make sense to have in there. I mean, I would have been livid if they didn't have Mirrorball in there because it's like my favorite.
Yeah. Alex on guitar for Mirrorball, I've noticed on the acoustic.
Oh, really? I've stayed away a bit from some of the videos apart from Maribum and that because I want to just soak it all in on tomorrow. On tomorrow. This time in 24 hours. They'll be on to Big Ideas by now, actually. I'm going to do this all night.
I was having a set list check throughout the course of the show.
In fact, they're not playing tonight, are they? I was going to say we could do a live set list check, but not that anyone's going to hear this.
This is just turned into a completely different podcast.
Well,
let's move it. That's what it's meant to be.
I mean, to be quite honest, there is a part of me that might clip out this bit and put it at the start of our pod for
It's good.
Because I assume next week we should record a post gig, a little 20 minutes or something post gig debrief, yeah, and I'll put them together as a little episode where it's pre and post, and it can be like things that we said. So maybe if we're doing that, we should say prediction, just a couple of we already know, so we can't do it. But you're saying you think they're going to open with Ritz is your prediction. Yeah. I don't think they're going to open with Brian Storm. I do think they're going to open something but this is because in my head Manchester's a special gig, but it might not be a special gig for them as I'm imagining it's being head. But because they did Cricket Club 20 years ago and that was their first ever big gig, it feels like a special occasion. So if you were going to crack out, say, open with a certain romance, it would be here or Sheffield. But I've got this feeling that because Manchester was the first big gig they ever did, and I think that is something that would cross your mind when you're coming back and doing that venue again on your first stadium tour. Actually, we did do
the first live DVD with Manchester as well.
Yeah, there is a connection, isn't there, between Manchester and them? So, and Alex was going to go to Manchester University.
Wasn't Manchester Ritz involved in the story of the dance floor cover?
Yeah, I think it was.
Didn't she go to Manchester Ritz and stuff as well?
So yeah. I think
Johnny might have to come out confirmed.
I think. Well, yeah. Okay, so prediction. Okay, so here you go. Prediction. You're saying Ritz. I say they're going to open with a certain romance. Would that be insane?
I mean, if you bang, yes, yeah. I don't.
No, here we go. I'm going to say they're going to open with When the Sun Goes Down. And they're gonna unexpectedly play a certain romance as the end before the encore. They're gonna do Are You Mine? You're gonna think it's over, and they're gonna start the drums for a certain romance, and that's my prediction.
Okay.
And special guest Chris Martin, because
you have to get a move on, given he's singing at the same time.
I'd be fucking livid because Vicky hates Coldplay, and this is the first Arctic Monkeys gig she's ever been to, and she's really hyped for it, and I'm really excited for her. So if Chris Martin walks out, it's going to ruin the whole fucking thing, isn't it? So yeah, no, I don't. But Johnny Marr's a good shout, I think, seeing as though I've seen him on stage with Alex before in Manchester. Castleville Bowl.
I don't think we'll have any special guests. I think that's going to be.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it. Oh, Elton, get Elton over my there. The way he was moving around the stage, there's no way he's zipping to the Cricket Club quickly. We'll tell you that.
On the tram.
Goodbye, yellow brick. No, no special guests, but I'm saying certain romance, and When the Sun Goes Down, are going to find their way into the set.
And I think, as an extra prediction, I think we're going to have both Suck It and See.
And here's two things I want to propose to you. One, that Alex goes, Elton's playing over at Birmingham tonight. So here's one for Elton, and they play Old Yellow Bricks because his tour is called Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I like the song.
Do this to me.
It's not a bad prediction, that is it? Really, it's a bit crazy. What would you do if you went this as well? He goes. I've heard there's two lads here tonight that run podcast about our tunes and that.
You're in silly world now, Dan.
I can dream.
Drinking already.
I want nothing else today. Well, I may as well. I will be though at 1 o'clock, baby. I'm texting you. Get me the pint ready.
Lunchtime Guinness.
I'm gonna get a beer in early and crack on cocky teas for a bit, I think, because I have to go back to beer at the venue because everything else will probably be too much. I mean, last night at the MEN, I got 2 pints of beer and a JD and Coke, £25.
Burping, wore a mask and a striped jumper, eh?
Yeah, and he came on early. He came on at 7:30, so I was just paying for my pint, and I heard Benny and the Jets, and I was like, "Fucking hell!" Action Station's running with me beer. The girl was like, "I was like, where's our seats?" And the girl was like, "Show me your ticket." I was getting out. She's like, "You spilling your beer?" I was like, "No, I can't do it all. It's dark. Elton John's on." I was losing it. She thought I was a right knob.
It's a miracle this man's alive. Show some respect.
But I never expected him to come on at 7:30. I saw some people that had seats right at the front, so they would have cost a bomb. Turn up at 8:30. They missed an hour. They must have been livid because most gigs start at like 9:15, don't they? The main act, but Elton's got 4 hours of material to get through, and he needs to be in bed for 10. So he comes on at 7:30, doesn't he? Obviously. But yeah, it was funny. But yeah, no, yeah, they're the predictions, and then the podcast will keep playing, and you'll hear our actually what happened and whether I was right or you were right or neither of us were right, and there was a different surprise in there that even we didn't think of.
Yes, it's us at the gig, and the singer from the Hives has literally just smashed his head open on the microphone, and we're all pretending it didn't happen.
Reminds me of in 2010 when the guitarist were up on himself, and now we got blood on the singer's face.
Yeah,
they're still the Hives.
What a time for the Hives, baby! So we're about 25 minutes, 30 minutes from Arctics. How are we feeling, Dan?
Yeah, pretty excited. Maybe 15 minutes. 15 minutes, maybe.
No,
we don't know.
No, because if it's not 15 minutes, I can't handle the disappointment when I find out it's not 15 minutes.
Anticipation has having to set you up for disappointment in it.
Yes, yeah, very close. And so, what's your final prediction for what we're going to start with?
Same romance still.
A bit slimmable to start.
I mean, it's actually brainstorm, but okay. Yeah.
No, that's going to be bits. It's going to be bits.
Okay. We will see.
You see, I'm worried I'll forget your face, and I've asked everyone. I'm beginning to think I imagine you all along. I elongated my lips, yeah, I'm letting go the long way round.
we are back. Not back just now, because let's be honest, neither of us are in a fit state to be doing anything. Hence the scarcity of the voice notes. But we've had a few days to digest things now, and we thought we'd bookend this little special podcast, didn't we?
We did. So neither of our predictions came true. Neither track was played. I mean,
neither track.
Yours was possible. Yeah. Mine was outlandish at best. But
I was thinking that when I listened back on Thursday night, I was thinking, "Oh, I think he's finally had a breakdown." It's finally happened.
I mean, I just said that because it was from the rest of the rubble was possible. They'd already done others. It could have been when the sun goes down, but really, I just thought if I'm going to go out, balls out the bath on this one, then go Certain Romance. I held out hope. Actually, at one point of the day when I was drunk, I started to convince myself that. Do you remember we were having that conversation about, well, Manchester is a special place to them, and then started to convince myself that they could do a Certain Romance, which we will do as this goes out. They're probably going to do that tomorrow or whenever, or tonight, whenever, at Sheffield. But Sheffield, if anyone's going to get a Certain Romance, it's going to be Sheffield, isn't it? And that makes sense. It's fine. It's their hometown, so Certain Romance would be the one. It's definitely getting played out of Glastonbury anyway, so we are going to get to see it on a big HD telly in 4K on BBC iPlayer at least. So, I say definitely. I don't know, but I don't know.
Ultra HD, that's the best place for it.
But the day started for us at about 1 o'clock ish. We got there at 1. You got there predictably late.
Fashionably late.
Yeah. I mean, I should have known when you said you were walking there, and then I forgot where you live. And I got there, and I said to my girlfriend, I said, "I'm walking from there." I was like, "It's take fucking ages."
No, I was walking from Emma and Dave's, and then Dave.
Yeah, that's still pretty far from where we were.
Castle Street. We had cans on the go. We had cans on the go for the walk.
Yeah, I know, but what I mean is, I didn't realize that, and then I thought, oh, this is why they're late because they've walked from there. And then, we got quite drunk. I have to say, headed to the stadium about 5:30 or something. I have to say, I think it was very well run. I think we got in straight away. We walked straight in, didn't we? Very quickly. There was no a
distinct lack of personal searches, which I was very happy about.
And we got served our drinks very quickly at the bar. It was all very smooth. I have to say, the organisers did an absolutely great job of making it a smooth day, because normally it can be a bit of a shit show. There's a festival that I had to apologise to people this week, wasn't there?
Slam dunk, yeah. My mate went to it and still has not recovered. Yeah. He's missed 6 of the 7 bands he wanted to see.
It's like the punk festival, isn't it? Like all that emo punk stuff and that. Pop punk, yeah. So as to say, to be fair on them, it was very well run.
Very well run. We arrived to the strains of the Mysterines up on stage. The first act. So there's more back. Very good, but it's more background because we were trying to find a spot to camp
I think they came on
for the rest of the night and stuff.
I think they came on after, because we sort of had to wait for people and went to the bar and stuff, and then they came on as we were walking in. But then we had a look at the merch stand and I was just at that point I was just too drunk to really consider doing anything logical like queuing up for the merch or spend money on it, because I'd already spent so much money that I thought, I'll just buy that. I didn't want to carry the I wanted the program, but I couldn't bother carrying it around all night, so it would have just got
barely be trusted to carry myself around at that point. Never mind, merch costing 10, 20, 30, 40 quid.
So we did that, and then we found a way to the left of the pretty much the background picture. If you're watching on the video, is more or less
that is my background picture. Yeah.
That is okay. Well,
that's the one I took. Yeah.
So we were to the left of the stage, not too close, but not far away by any means. Quite relatively close. Close as you get before it starts getting a bit too much for us.
Exactly that. This wasn't my first rodeo, mate.
That's what we'll get into. We did enough in the mosh pit.
I love how we got in there, and Emma and Dave were just like, "Well, lead the way, Nick." Like I had to lead us all over these people who were just sat down.
Well, you are the tallest. Well, there was someone there taller than you, actually, so it shouldn't have felt to you. Actually.
Yes, it was. I enjoyed that. Yeah. It was easy for people to find us when they went off to the toilets and to get drinks, because we just put our arms up.
On the bazaar, there was one point when we couldn't. Someone was coming back, and I turned around and just made eye contact with them, and they realised where we were. And I thought, it's It's quite lucky for you to make eye contact with me in a large crowd, to be quite honest with you.
I don't know how that happened, mate.
I don't know how that happened. No. They must have fell over. But and then the Hives came on, and they were pretty good. I mean, we were well on our way. I think I'd got like a couple of beers and a vodka and coke at that, like, just so I didn't have to go back to the bar. And I'd already had, I think I had one of the pints. Making my way through the second the Hives came on. The lead singer, I mean, we saw it like live. He threw the mic up. Somebody stood on his. By the way, you will have heard the voice notes. I forgot you just heard the voice notes about how fucked we were at that point. But we still, because I think they were just after the Hives, weren't they? So this is just before that point. But what I read was the guitarist stood on the wire. And that's why it went into his face. So it flew into his face. I remember it was on the screen. I just remember we were watching it, and all of a sudden, because the camera was right on him, and it just went like in his face, and we were like, "Oh fuck!" And then
blood pissing everywhere.
Blood pissing out of it. He carried on like a trooper. To be fair with him, I can't remember his name. I wish I just give him credit for his name.
Howlin' Pelly Almqvist.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I didn't attempt to say it. Sorry, because sometimes
I don't think he was. I don't think he was prisoned. Howlin' Pele. I think that came later.
Yeah, and then he carried on with blood pouring down his face for anyone that hasn't seen it, and carried on like a pro. I think he did a bit about, does anyone no, should I carry on or whatever? He does a lot of crowd amping up, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
And then they did, I hate to say I told you so, which was what we were waiting for. They did Tit Tit Boom, which we were really waiting for. Main Offender, and then hate to say I told you so. All the hits they did, which was great, because I was worried that if they don't do them free, then I'm going to be really pushing this to hurry up for Arctics. And then they went off about 8:20, I think, and me and you made a dash, a quite ballsy move of dashing for a piss.
Spectacular, wasn't it?
Yeah, we dashed for a piss. We got into in and out of there pretty quickly.
It's on the secret toilet.
That woman came. I forgot about this a minute yesterday. A woman sort of stopped me and went, "Hiya," in a suggestive way.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I said toilets, and I was just stood there. I think we were just waiting to cross the bit, because they don't let you go straight back out. We had to go around, and this woman just stopped in front of me and she went, "Hi," in a suggestive manner, and I was like, "I'm not single," and I was like, "Yeah." The boyfriend shields came up, and I was like,
obviously didn't see me. God, didn't see me stood there desperate.
No, she did, and that's what made me more appealing than usual.
Oh God,
You winged man me by mistake, when there wasn't no need for a winged man. But and then we dashed back in. We got there, and then even then I thought, well, at least the piss will have killed it. Arctics will be on in a minute. But then it was like 22, and that last 15 minutes or so, 10-15 minutes seemed to go last forever. We'd had all of our drinks,
turning to use, and I'd had to turn my phone off because my battery was so low. So I turned my phone off. I just kept looking at you, going, "How long now? How long now?"
I mean, we've been drinking all day at this point. I'd had copious cocktails. Then I just had in. You think about it, if we got in there at 27 and I'd had my drinks by the time I went for a piss, and that means that I drank those drinks in that's not that bad, about an hour and a half. So I had the 2 beers and a vodka and coke. And so we were pretty sloshed.
And that was like double or triple vodka and cokes as well, because I got us one each, and then I bought an extra 2 to top them all up with.
Oh, okay.
And then at one point I had a vodka and coke, a dark fruits, and then someone brought me a beer as well. So I had the 3 of them to handle, which was a nightmare. That's the worst thing about it.
You wouldn't have handled that in the crowd, the gig, if you'd still had them.
I had to drink them all before it started.
And then they came out because we couldn't remember. We knew one of the songs they came out to was Tom Jones, but it's not unusual, but we knew there was another. I couldn't remember what the other one was until it came on, and it was Barry White. And I said to you, I was like, "This is the song that they come on to." The other song, we were like,
we're telling everyone else,
this is it. This is the song. And then they didn't seem to come on for an age. They came on towards the end of the song, and then you hear obviously the ripples of the crowd and people seeing them come on stage and cheering, and you're like, and then it was like, what are they going to do? And then, First Adolescent was what they cracked on with. Oh, we should say before this, we met a fan of the podcast who we've never spoke to before. Before they came on, so this was when we were stood in the crowd waiting. Just randomly, wasn't it? He just appeared out of nowhere, didn't he?
Mental. Yeah. Just
And
in a crowd of like, what, 50,000 people.
I've never had anything like that happen to me ever. And he just walked up and he was looking for his girlfriend, and he just turned to us, didn't he? And went, "Oh, I really like your pod. Really listen on the way to work all the time." And he was like, "You're Nick, you're Dan." And I was a bit like, "Oh right, yeah."
Which was handy because at that point I couldn't have told you my own name.
Because I thought the only person we'd see is someone that we've communicated with a couple of times from Manchester, so I wasn't expecting someone to randomly bump into us or see us or recognise us or find us.
He didn't enjoy
have to say, I did like
football
it.
team's older Rob, did he?
No, he didn't like. He made a little Spurs dig, didn't he? So I think he said he had to go about you, and then he went, "You're even worse to me," didn't he? So what was he though? United fan.
Bolton.
Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah. We've got a more recent history with him because we knocked him out of the cup like last season. So
okay, so why are they the worst go at me? Just because Spurs are famously shite. Is that all it is? Yeah, doesn't matter what league you're in, you just get shit if you're a Spurs fan.
Everyone would be having a go. Yeah.
Yeah. When I first became a Spurs fan, everyone in Manchester used to go to me and go, "Oh, fair play, I got no beef with Spurs fans." And then as soon as we got Conte, suddenly that changed and everyone hated us. Everyone gives me shit all the time. Like before that, it was, "Oh yeah, Spurs, got no shit with Spurs." But anyway, yeah, so it was very nice to see him, and then I have to say I did like it. I liked getting recognised. I shamelessly enjoyed it.
Just a shame none of our group were there to witness it.
No, Vicky was there. Vicky was there. My girlfriend was there, so she looked
very impressed.
She looked very.
This is what I got with him.
Well, she actually was very impressed, and she said to me afterwards, she was like, "Oh, that was amazing. I was so like impressed by that." And I was like, "Oh yeah, if I was caught in her, if we were together, that would have gone down. That would have been sex that night."
Wait till I get you home. You're gonna watch me throw up.
It's just a shame one of the many women that you caught in weren't there to see it, really. Because I think it's more impressive than your other pod, because just getting spotted around Stockport for doing the Stockport County pod, it's kind of expected, isn't it? But to get spotted out of a crowd of 60,000 people and only we've got worldwide listeners, so we don't know how many are actually in Manchester. And if it was Sheffield, even you could go, "Oh well, there's going to be more in Sheffield," or whatever. But random crowd bump into us, yeah. And then he actually, I have to thank him because he's given me one of the most memorable moments of the gig, which was when they played Suck It and See, which we'll get into. Halfway through it, he found me in the crowd again because he wasn't too far away from us, was he? He grabbed me by the shoulder, he turned around, and he was like, "This is your favorite one," and I was like, "Oh my god, a stranger knows what my favorite song is. This is amazing." Like, I have to say that was pretty special. So, we'll thank him very much. But yeah, getting back to the gig. So yeah, they came out and they did Floss Adolescent, which we knew it was going to be in the set. But it was interesting.
In our minds from the night before.
Well, you won't have heard it yet. It's in a few weeks, but we had recorded the Floss Adolescent the night before, so we were really geared up to hear that. We weren't geared up, but no, we just scared of security. But we were really geared up to hear that.
And, for yourself, mate.
Well, you had one spliff. But yeah, it came on, and it was just like an instant sing along, wasn't it? I mean, that's what Vicky, because this was Vicky's first Starting Monkeys gig, and she said afterwards, because she's been to some big gigs, Radiohead and stuff, but she was like, she's never been to one where it was such a sing along of hits over and over again, because they really like. I've seen people moaning about the set and stuff, and I'm like,
how you can moan about that.
I just don't know what you can moan about. It couldn't be a more balanced set. People turn around going, "I wish they played more from the car." I'm like, are you fucking having me on? All they have to do is listen to people moan constantly about how they don't want to hear songs from the car, but for some reason I get the one person popping up that goes, "I wish they played more songs from the car." Yeah, I would have liked to have maybe heard a few more, but actually on balance, do I want to go to a big stadium gig and hear some hits? Yeah, really. Because of the venue, I want the hits. I don't want the obtuse stuff. If I go and see them at the MEN, maybe I want more of the obtuse stuff. Or
a big outdoor gig in a heat wave, you want to be bouncing around with people you've never met before to the hits, and that's exactly what we're saying.
It terrifies me. People listening that aren't.
It's the 9X.
Like, MEN, what's that?
It'll always be the 9X. No, yeah, it really terrifies me as to what they're going to do at Glastonbury, because if that's the set list we're getting,
I know. Like, is it just going to be the same thing with some strings, like, and special appearances? I don't know what they're going to do, but it's going to be a good one because they already know the importance of Glastonbury. But maybe because it's bang in the middle of the tour, it will just be the same. They'll just be like, "Well, we've been rehearsing this set of hits." Maybe they just tweak it and throw "When the Sun Goes Down." Like, what could they add that would make it? They could add "When the Sun Goes Down," "Certain Romance," "Fake Tales." Songs they could add. A song we didn't ever contemplate being put in the set. That could make its way into Sheffield. And then they could throw in. They've pretty much thrown in the hits from all the other albums, haven't they? So I mean, maybe a little bit more of AM. They could throw number one party anthem or something, which I didn't ever think about as well. I would like to have heard live.
I think you might have to, because it's very AM heavy. I think it's 6 or 7 songs from AM in total.
Is it?
I think so, yeah. So you have.
Why do you want to call me when you're high? Do I want to know?
Do I want to know? Are you mine? Snap out of it. And
Snap out of
hi,
it, yeah.
Arabella.
Oh yeah, and sometimes I want to be yours. We didn't get that, but
Sometimes I want to be Saturday.
So-
but we were very happy with what we got.
after Fuss Adolescent, they went to Brainstorm straight away. So were you happy? So you weren't entirely happy with them coming out and doing Fuss Adolescent in terms of if we no, you said yesterday if we hadn't have been so pumped to hear it from the podcast the night before, you would have been disappointed with them opening Fuss Adolescent.
Oh, no,
it's not a good opener.
No, it's
exactly
just not
what
a
you said.
traditional opener. You expect certain tracks. It was Cornerstone as an opener last night that I thought was a strange one, but they've earned the right to.
Oh yeah, that was
it.
Yeah, it was that one.
But no. I even said earlier. Well, you'll have heard it earlier on in this special podcast that I thought they'd open with a hit. I thought they'd open with a banger.
No, we all knew they'd open with a hit. They've been doing it, and I agree that Mardy Bum, Cornerstone, and Fuss Adolescent aren't necessarily hits. Aren't necessarily good openers, but I think it's just about it being the first stadium tour in the UK. They're going to open with a hit, and yes, I would agree. Mardy Bum, Fuss and Adolescent are better suited than Cornerstone to perhaps be the opener, but maybe we're underestimating the power of Cornerstone. We don't know, but yeah, I think it's purely this. They would never do this normally, open with any of these songs, but it's just because it's the first UK stadium tour. It's nice weather. They've got all these hits from the old days, and they're just coming out and going, boom, let's open with that. And it's nice of the match. It's very, I think, actually, for all the shit that they get, and I've noticed now that things have pivoted slightly in the media this past week in terms of reviews of the gig and stuff. All the shit that they get for stuff, the fact that they haven't, they get the shit for just people are always, for a start, the people that always say Alex is leading the band in a certain direction that they don't want to be in, right? These sets prove that they're still a harmonious unit that still respect the audience to the point where they've gone, we're not just going to go out and bang out all these car songs that we want to play from this album. It's a stadium tour at home. We're going to go out and we're going to balance it with hits that people want to hear, which just shows that they are very audience orientated and a unit, and they look at things differently live than they look at things when they're making an album. So just all that stuff people say about them when a new album comes out that aren't to their taste, just go straight in the bin with this tour. And if they try it again, I'll just refer back to this tour and go, yeah, don't tell me that Alex is leading the band into all this stuff when they're coming out and playing Mardy Bum and they're getting like View from the Afternoon, Brainstorm and in there and everything still. So basically, shut up. That's the last I'll say in it, because you've got no argument anymore after this story, in my opinion. You've got absolutely no argument. But yeah, then Brainstorm, obviously, and that was great. We get amped up for that. And then it was Snap Out of It, which, it's a great sing-along again, isn't it? I think after Brainstorm, like, maybe want a bit more pace, but I like it. It's a good sing-along. It's not one of my favorites of AM, but I do like it. Then Don't Sit Down, which is a great tune. I love singing to that one. I love Don't Sit Down. And actually,
which has since been dropped.
Well, interestingly, my girlfriend, who again isn't she knows a lot of it from me, and she knows the first two, and she knows AM, and she knows like Crying Light and stuff. She knows that kind of stuff. She said to me afterwards, I didn't realize even some of the songs that I already knew were actually Arctic Monkeys like hits. Like she didn't know Don't Sit Down. I didn't know that. She was like that bit. Yeah. She was like, I never knew that was them, and I was like, yep, that is them. So there you go. Hits that you don't even know. They've got that was a good sing along though, wasn't it? Don't Sit Down. I like that.
Very good.
And then Crying Lightning, which is always just a delight. I never want that to lead the set. I just love that song and singing along to it, and hearing people again. It's so funny about how that album was treated, that so many people now like crack out the songs to it, the sing-alongs to it. I mean, that was one of the ones that people responded to more, I guess, from it. But pretty much like big crowd reaction to that. Huge crowd reaction for Teddy Picker. Again, obviously. Do you remember, actually, it was interesting. So there was a guy that latched onto us in front who was, sorry if he's a listener, but he was doing my head in for a lot of it because you gave him a bloody spliff and we couldn't get rid of him. All sort of middle-aged guy with a hat on. Yeah, but it was me. Like, you gave him the drugs and I was the one that had to deal with him for the rest of the night. I was like the parent.
I thought it had settled him down.
No, and then do you remember, because we turned to each other because we're that sad that we know that when Alex he did like a sort of like he did like a
Yeah,
on
you
his
can tell
guitar.
from the message.
Yeah. And we turned to each other and went, "Oh, Teddy Picker," and then he went, "Is it?" Turned around and then it came on and he was like, "Someone's been studying the set," and I was like, "No, that's not what it is.
Oh.
Just an expert."
We do a podcast, mate. Here's our business.
No, yeah. Gonna refer you to this. Now, fuck off. But yeah, Teddy Picker was a great one. Obviously, that really got the crowd going again. Interesting how sometimes, did you notice in the sing-alongs though, Alex sings stuff slightly differently, so the crowd was kind of off kilter with him because at the end of this,
about, but it's great.
That's good though. So what do you want? Like, you could sing it differently. Even, I mean, this song was, how old's Teddy Picker now? Like fucking 16 years ago. But yeah, the end was like he did the abrupt end rather than the pause. Did you notice he did because I was waiting for it and then but then he just did it. Then we had View from the Afternoon, which was
we did indeed.
That was another huge like crowd going crazy sing along moment, obviously, wasn't it, for everyone? And they're kind of the first one to have a special feel in the crowd, don't they? Because it's like, oh, I didn't know they were gonna do this, type feeling.
Honestly, it took me back to the first time we saw them in 2007 at the same place. That track did. I had to close my eyes for a second and be like, oh yeah.
I saw a picture of them at the cricket club then and now, actually. Like someone's picture from the screen of Alex. It was interesting, yeah. Where are they now? And then they went into a 4 out of 5, which, you know what, I felt less so than usual. Maybe we were just lucky with the people around us. There was definitely, obviously, a dip while that was on in people singing, and it was like me, you, and our fan of the podcast were carrying a lot of that stuff.
Rob,
I noticed, yeah, good old Rob, yeah. But we, by the way, I love how when he walked up, I just got to say this keeps making me laugh, Rob, if you're listening. But he sort of had to justify it. He came up and he went, "I listen to you all the time. I love you. I'm not a subscriber." Fine, it's fine. You don't, we understand money's tight. Well, not money's tight. I'm not saying you have money problems, but society money is, it's hard to be so frivolous as to give us any money a month, and we don't expect you to. But if you like the extra content you do, great. But yeah, he was carrying it, and then but there was less of a drop off than I expected for this one, is what I'm trying to get to. There was a great there was a decent crowd sing along, 4 out of 5, I'd say, because we knew obviously from the little drum change thing at the start that it was about to come on.
Bossa Nova.
And obviously we love it. And then
we saw the return of some bongos as well for that track.
Damien
Latter, the percussionist, was the bongos out.
He's good, isn't he? And then we got right. So we had obviously, as you just heard, we had debated like who's going to win the. Although we both agreed we'd quite like either, or you'd like Suck It and See more. But maybe the boys were listening to us at some point in the past few weeks as we've been going, but they, for some reason, and they haven't done this on any other night so far. I don't think they did it last night, did they?
There's nothing from Suck It and See this night at all.
For some reason, they went into Cornerstone, and which is obviously a great moment for you, your favorite song, great sing along for everyone, huge moment. And then at that point, I thought to myself, well, that's it. Then they went with Cornerstone tonight, so I'm not going to get Suck It and See. And I have to say, I was a little sad. But more on that in a bit. But I was a little bit sad. And then they did Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High, which is a bit of obviously this is like a lull part of the set. We didn't realize live. Very good sing along. I mean, everyone, yeah. The AM ones, Favorite Worst Nightmare, AM. First album obviously got the bigger. Crying Lightning as well, to be fair on it, but I'd say Cornerstone as well got a fair reaction, but there was a lot of people there, a lot of younger generations than I was expecting actually, which is cool. But there was a lot of people there that even the younger generations, I'd say, mostly knew the stuff from the past. But Why Do You Want to Come In The High? We didn't realize live because there was so much going on. We just couldn't tell as much. But he was playing the piano for part of it, wasn't he? Alex went on the piano. Was it for the outro or the intro? It's for the outro, right? Or the intro?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was the whole song.
But I think it was both. I think was it for both? I thought I saw a bit of him stalking the. Because if it was for the whole song, it would have cut to him on the screen, and I would have seen him sat at a piano singing it. So
yeah, maybe it's just the intro and outro then.
Makes sense because that's the bit where he's not singing a lot. So yeah, I think so. Yeah, maybe it wasn't, but I feel like we would have seen if it was the whole song because the camera would have gone on him at some point.
I think thinking about it, I think it'd just be the outro actually. I don't
think Nick got enough presence on the screen. That's one of my complaints. I'm going to say.
Don't get me started on that. That was one of my main takeaways.
Didn't see a lot of Nick, did we, on the screen?
That's why I set us up on that side. I always when I go to gigs, I like going on the bass.
I love how they have the same outfits, by the way, at all these. Like, sorry, you froze. I thought you'd stopped, but you froze. No. It's Helders wears that same sort of almost animal print shirt or whatever that he wears on the notice. Yeah,
one of his bound things, isn't it?
Just had the same outfit that I imagine they have it dry cleaned straight after the gig. And
did you see the row of when we were on our way, when we were getting to our space when we got there? A group of like 3 lads walked past, and they were all wearing the same Helders bound shirt. For three lads, it's like they're not consulted with each other. It's like, well, you get this one, I'll get that one. No, they don't. They all have the exact same one, the animal print one.
Or maybe they work for Bound because it's based in Manchester, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. But come on our podcast.
Less of that. Less we talk about that, the better. And then obviously after that they went steaming into Arabella to pick things back up. But obviously, it works nice.
Outro.
Well, I think it worked quite well in the set because you sort of you have view from the afternoon. And then 4 out of 5 is kind of like middle ground, Cornerstone, middle ground. Why Do You Want to Come In Your High gets even a bit lower, and then you do Arabella starts slow, but then builds it back up. So you've got it there and there. Yeah, Pre-Visitors, which some other nights now since then, well, 1 or 2. No, the next day because we were there on Friday, by the way, not Saturday. They had Pretty Visitors as a full song rather than a musical interlude, which would have been nice, but I'm not gonna like loosely.
We got Suck It and See and Cornerstone, so I think we won just for that. Yeah,
just for that. I mean, for us in particular as well on a personal level. But yeah, they did the Pretty Visitors transition, and then they went into My Propeller, which was nice to hear. Again, I haven't heard that live obviously for probably about 15 years, right? Probably. They didn't make it. Have we ever heard it past the Humbug tour? Or probably since
I didn't go on the Humbug tour, so I probably won't have seen that live at all. Unless it popped up in the. It might have popped up in the Suck It and See tour. Actually, I'm not sure.
I saw them twice during the Humbug tour at Leeds and at AO. So, but since then I don't recall. But maybe. Although I might have heard it at Don Valley because they pretty much played every song at Don Valley. I don't know quite how they did it, but it seems like it anyway. Looking back, I mean, they probably didn't if I look at the set list, but it seemed like they certainly played all the big hits. And then obviously, yes, after me giving up hope and thinking, well, I'm happy to get Cornerstone, but it's a shame. I really wanted to hear Suck It and See. Not only did they somehow know to play Cornerstone and Suck It and See for us in particular, personally, as our 2 favorite songs, which they hadn't done at all on this set or at any point on this tour for the past year and a half. They then also started it with, do you remember me saying ages ago, my dream is for them to do Suck It and See on the piano would be great, as well as an opening at least. Alex played the opening on the piano, and I was completely just blown away straight away. And then they came in as the whole song, and it was absolutely magical. That was my favorite sing-along. And obviously, Rob grabbing me and saying, "This is your favorite song," was cool as well. It amplified it even more. Felt like a celebrity because there was a few people.
I was straight on you as soon as he started that.
Yeah, it was a big moment. That you enhanced what was already a pretty special moment. So thank you again. Yeah, it was. I actually. So I should say, I cried. Oh, I cried twice at this point. I cried during Suck It and See. 100%. I was crying my eyes out during Suck It and See. I think when Rob grabbed me, I think I've had sunglasses on because I was absolutely streaming. And I cried. I don't know if I'd cried. Oh, maybe I cried during Mardy Bum. Might have been. No, it wasn't Mardy Bum. So I'll tell you, actually, we haven't got to it yet. So Suck It and See was the first time I cried. It was my emotional
You might
moment.
cried at the same point as me then, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Bearing in mind, I'd already cried a lot during Elton John a few days before. So it was a big crying week for me. Yeah. Didn't cry when anyone in my family dies, but
they've not created a seminal album, Dan.
No, they certainly haven't. And they cry at art, not life. That's the most pretentious thing anyone's ever said. Do I Want to Know came next, which was, nice in it. So I Do Want to Know. You get that cool. The crowd loved that, obviously. Not a big. I tried to get a. I think was it then that there was a point where me and you tried to get a clap going and it didn't pay off. I think it was it. Do I Want to Know? There was. I remember a point going, which we should be clapping here. Oh no. I'll tell you what that is in a minute. So Do You Want to Know was all right, wasn't it? Always nice to hear live. I don't think it's one of those songs I don't think I'd miss now if it was gone. I feel like I've had it, but it's a good single, I'm gonna, and obviously everyone knows it, so it's literally the whole one of them. And then came in a little bit of Mardy Bum, didn't it? A little bit of the, and I remember that was a good one because it was, I think it was me, you, Vicky, and a Freeway Hug singing it, which was nice. Which probably goes back to 15 years ago. It's probably me, you, and two different women in a hug singing it. But
now it's me, you, and one woman.
It's me, you, and one woman. You still have connections to that woman at the time, and this woman has the same rhyming name with the woman that I had then, so it's very strange. But Mardy Bum was nice. We all had a nice little sing to Mardy Bum, and that was very romantic moment as well. Everyone involved. It was lovely. You always want. It's one of them, innit? You just want to hear it and do it. And then beautifully, I've been waiting for this. This was probably like one of my next on the list after Suck It and See, because obviously never heard it live, and I'm going to say it, actually. I think I've decided. I didn't want to say it because you don't like to pick singles, but it is my favorite song off the car. I can't deny that it isn't, because if I even hear the couple of notes, I have to listen to it all because I just love it.
You're correct. You're absolutely correct.
I can't not say it's my favorite song off the car, because I hate saying singles. I hate saying singles are your favorite song, but which is stupid because I couldn't see it was a single. But do you know what I mean? Like, the first single, you don't want to say the first single. Maybe is the accurate one. That you wouldn't want to say "Crying Lightning" is your favorite song of Humbug, or you know what I mean. So, I think it is. So when he played that, it was great. I loved hearing that live, and I felt it got some big crowd dip even from the Tranquility stuff.
Do you want to tell people what
Tranquility really got shafted? Didn't I say Mirrorball? I think I said Mirrorball, didn't I?
Yeah,
sorry, so Mirrorball. I said I said the first single off the car. That might give it away, but Mirrorball. And there was a drop off in crowd, obviously, as you'd expect. But I think still me, you, and Rob definitely I noticed were the main people singing it from the area that we were in. I think that was it. That guy as well that latched onto us. He said something about like, can they not just play the fan or something? He made a comment, and I was like, right, you're dead to me. Fuck off. If you weren't already dead to me.
No more drugs for you.
You weren't ever alive to me, to be honest. I don't know why I didn't give you the drugs.
But yeah, our little, because my mates Emma and Dave are big Car and Tranquility fans as well. So our little group was going mad for that. I liked it. Yeah,
I really liked the sing along to that, actually, and it was a very nice moment. I thought he sang it very well. Live sounded exactly the same, actually, live, didn't it? So that was cool. And actually, Vicky, what did Vicky say, Joe, in it? And I didn't really respond to it at the time because I was in the moment, but it was the dun 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 bit.
Me and the Jets.
Benny, that was it. She went, oh, Benny and the Jets, and I thought, oh, fucking hell. And afterwards, I was like, oh yeah, she's right. It does sound like Benny and the Jets, which is interesting because I'd said to you that Benny and the Jets reminded me of Tranquility for it. But this was.
I think I also said it on last week's pod as well. I'm sure on one of the pods last week. I think I mentioned. Yeah, but it might have been.
We were talking about Tranquility Base. The album sounded like Benny and the Jets. Remember, it wasn't the car. It was Tranquility.
Yeah, but I'm sure I said and Mirrorball as well. Well,
I don't listen to you. I don't listen to you most of the time. So
no,
I only ever really listen to you when I'm listening back, not now. I'm talking. But and then
What's talking?
so it's a crowd dip for Mirrorball. Beautiful moment for those of us that are into it. I guess one of them again where I don't care if people don't like it because it was a special moment for me. My dream personally for the Car album would be to see them in a very intimate venue perform the whole of the Car from the start to finish. Would be the kind of ideal scenario for that album, I think. Like the Apollo or something, or maybe the Ritz, something like that. Doing the Car would be
Albert
great.
Hall, Apollo.
Albert
Oh,
Hall,
Apollo.
Albert
Albert
Hall.
would be perfect for it.
Albert
Yeah.
Hall would be perfect, yeah. Albert
Manchester, Albert
Ball.
Hall. Not the Royal.
No, not Royal Albert Hall. And then obviously to pick the crowd back up, 505 came in. Always great to have 505 live, isn't it? It's such a sort of sky was dark, going very much at this point, going because it held out, didn't it? The light, it fucking held out. I thought it was really dark because I had my sunglasses on, but then at one point, in my head, right, because I was pissed when it started going dark. In my head, I was going, "I'm not taking my glasses off." If Alex isn't taking his glasses off, like I was like, because it's cool as fuck. And then Alex took them off, and I thought, oh. So I took them off, and then I realized it was still quite light when I took them off because the sunglasses obviously made it darker. But yeah, it hung out that bloody sun right until like maybe until Are You Mine. But yeah, 505 always great live. Everyone knows that, obviously. So again, screaming out the guitar solo still gets me every time live. Such a live atmospheric moment. Beautiful moment. Sad though. I start to get sadder on that part because I know it's nearly over.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm like, can't they just do another hour? I'll stand there all night. Maybe one day they'll do like an Elton set for the last one, the 505 tour. And then obviously, last song of the main set, Body Paint.
This was the moment for
again.
me.
I'm going to say this as well because it sounds probably my second favorite song on the album.
This was when I was crying. This was me gone at this point. It was immense. So, and the way that song has evolved since release.
That outro,
phenomenal.
Live. I said it to you at the time, and I stand by what I said to you at the time when they went off the stage. I say it now, and there's a statement. This was my 13th time seeing the Arctic Monkeys live, which is quite a feat, I would say. So I've got a good spectrum of them live, and I've seen them messy live. I've seen them not 100%, and I've seen them many times. Don Valley was still my favorite gig because it was just this, I don't know, there's something magical about it. But this one comes close because they were very professional. It was the most professional of them. And what I'm getting to is that this Body Paint outro, for me, maybe speaking performance-wise, music-wise, as a band live, was the best thing I've ever seen them do live. Like as a band, as a live performance, that was the best thing I've ever seen them do. And that's pretty amazing because I've seen them do a lot of pretty cool stuff live. So, I've heard them do A Certain Romance when they hadn't done it for years, Don Valley and stuff. So, it was the best thing they've ever done musically for me live. It was perfection.
I'm saying really after that. I was thinking I could happily have like another hour of that outro. Just them.
Yeah, it really did last. It felt like it lasted for ages, didn't it? I don't know how long it lasts, but it felt like it lasted forever. But it was just like so good, so like perfect. Because we've seen them do these kind of like, when they do War Pigs
for me,
Arabella, these little things that they do. But this was the best thing. Yeah, I think they've done in that version.
It's crossed into that epic like Bohemian Rhapsody type status now.
That's
a big thing for me. Songs that are like 4 songs in one. I love like Jesus of Suburbia by Green Day, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Body Paint's up there with them for me.
If I could get a really well recorded live version of that, maybe Glastonbury is going to be good enough where I can rip it off. I think that would be the version I would listen to all the time of Body Paint. Definitely. And also, before the outro, really enjoyed listening to it and singing to it. Again, just the sort of stalwarts, keeping that one single on going for that one, but it was pretty special. And they went off, and it was like, oh, that was it. That guy that latched onto us in between, he was like, "Come on, everyone, you've got to," he was trying to go, "You got," because everyone was kind of quiet and like it's because sometimes at gigs people, I find it happens at like smaller gigs though where people are like clapping to come on back on and that. There wasn't any of that, and I think it's because. I don't know. Maybe you just know the coming back on, so you don't really bother. I don't know. Like,
you don't need persuading.
Don't be persuading. Yeah, like some people pretend. And he was like, "Come on, you need to get going." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sick of about that part. Just go away. There's 3 songs left. I know what they are, and I don't need to come back on. That I just watched. That was amazing. Get out of my face. I don't know you are. You're on your own here. You're not with us. Leave me alone." 55-year-old man in a bucket hat and Arctic Monkeys gig on his own. I don't know what was supposed to be what's happening here.
We have nothing in common.
I wouldn't have minded that if he'd have got on board with the newer stuff, but he didn't. So I'm not going to give him any credit. If he'd have been there and he'd been singing all the car stuff and that, I would have been like, fair play coming to a gig on your own like this just to hear this stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that you only then moaned about them not doing the old stuff, no. So they came back on Sculptures. I would have preferred it if it was pitch black for Sculptures, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's still a bit like
that was immense.
For you, I'll let you cover this one.
It was so I think that was quite possibly the song. Apart from Body Pain, that's what I mean. We must have Sculptures on about 4 times when we were getting ready to come and meet you. Just had it on repeat, and we're so excited to hear it, and it was absolutely immense. It's almost like once again, it's a completely different entity from the album version now. It's just taking on a new life, and that at Glastonbury is going to be something special.
Yeah, I really liked that. The lights they had at the back of the stage for Sculptures as well. That was in line with the drum machine. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, it was really cool live, wasn't it? And then obviously they went into dance floor. The crowd went absolutely insane.
That was when the
mosh pit
kind of stretched to where we were then. Yeah.
And I was like trying to stay away from it at first. I was like, oh, but I mean, we didn't get right in the middle of it because that would be mental.
And then some lanky bastard pushed you into it.
Yeah, and then so we were in the mosh pit. It's dance floor in it. It's what it's there for. I've probably heard it live every time. I can't think of if they ever haven't played it when I've seen them live, but yeah, there must have been one. No, maybe not. But yeah, it was a cool, fast, sing-along, funny moment, harking you back to the old days. And then obviously Are You Mine to see it out, which was I see a lot of people I've seen kind of say that they're done with hearing Are You Mine live. But I disagree. I'm not. I want it to stay in the set. I think people are forgetting what a moment it was when that song came out and how great it was, and that it was like, and I still stand by it. It's the best rock and roll song of the past. I think since it came out, 2012, I haven't heard a better, and I'm very, very specific, rock and roll. I haven't heard a better rock and roll song than Are You Mine in the past 10 years, 11 years. No one's beat it yet, in my opinion, for what it's worth. But yeah, I can't think of any other sort of very specifically rock and roll song, but I still love hearing that live. It's just like the perfect end to a gig, and you want to hear maybe another, like, you could have 505 earlier and you could put 505 last, I guess, or something like that. I don't know, but it'd be more romantic, I guess. But then, I don't know.
And we agree that Body Paint is in the perfect spot, but Body Paint at the end of the main set is perfect. It should stay there forever now.
Yeah, I think it could work. We don't know what the future music's going to be, so it could, if another song fits better there, it could also work at the very end at some point.
Yes,
but because it's not a hit, some people would find that a bit lackluster as the end because it's not one that they want to hear. You know, they keep a song like Are You Mine or. Well, we know that, but the band seemed to be quite fair with the set. But yeah, it was. I think Are You Mine's a great, and I love hearing that live. I think we were in full play acting mode at that point, weren't we? Because there was still a mosh pit going that we were semi-involved with. I think there was a bit where I did the sort of guitar bit, like in the video where he lifts his leg where he minds it. Yeah. So yeah, all that was going on at that point. Great end to the gig, and then there was nothing bad. The whole set was perfect. I think we left on a high. The only bad bit was getting out of the fucking stadium. It was a nightmare. And
we lost each other.
We lost each other. We lost momentum for the evening, which was a shame. And we've discussed this now, but we realised yesterday, much to our chagrin, from a picture of Alex on the street in Trafford, which is where the cricket club is, realised that, of course, they must have been staying. There's a Hilton attached to the cricket club, so the most logical place for them to be staying would be there for the night because they're there the next day as well. Didn't think of that, and it would have been like 80 quid for us to book a room to stay in that hotel. Could have just gone there after the gig. No fucking about.
Do you think that the 80 quid is just the price to stay in there on a normal night? It must have been more than 80 quid to stay in there for a gig night, surely.
Probably, but we did have from September if we'd have thought of it, which we probably wouldn't have. But to book that, so it probably would have been all right. But yeah, it probably would have been higher. But I would have paid anything under 150 probably if I had a chance of meeting the band, and if I'd have known how much bollock it was to go home, and we all could have just, or at least the very least of 5 of us or 6 of us, go to a hotel room and just with our own booze from a local shop in the Tesco and go and get fucked in there. And have a chance of meeting the band, have a few drinks in the hotel, and then go up to the room, linger around, try and meet the band, then I would have taken that option because it cost me quite a lot in taxis anyway throughout the evening. So probably could have just, especially if it was 80 quid, I probably paid that in taxis anyway for the day. So yeah, I would have. But yeah, no, I think it was an amazing day. That was just a funny afterthought that we should have just stayed in the hotel. And if the band was staying there, we might have met them because there is an image of them. You said on the balconies watching the Mysterines, so they probably did have a hotel room there. So maybe gig night not so much. I think you probably have to, because some of the people on the balconies were from the hotel, right? So I assume you have to pay for a ticket as well as staying in the hotel.
You'd assume so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
I don't know how it works on a gig night actually, so maybe we couldn't have done that. Maybe the hotels
keep an eye on that for next time.
Well, yeah. I thought it was amazing. Perfect set of sing-along tunes, new stuff. Yeah. There's a time and a place to hear more stuff from Tranquility in the car, and that I have to agree, that probably isn't it, because it was a cool stadium tour day. But yeah, I loved it. I guess my favourite moment was Suck It and See, obviously.
Suck It and See, or body, finally hearing Body Paint and Sculptures live as well from the new album. I think the songs they picked from the new album worked perfectly, I think. I know there's a bit of a lull, but that's to be expected.
Well, my favourite moment was Suck It and See, but my favourite moment of them as a band was the Body Paint outro, certainly, by far. So yeah, perfect day. We had a great time, as you probably heard from some of the stuff. And we were way off with our predictions, but we were pretty much right from the session. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, all that set list, I said to you yesterday, all that set list analysing you do on the build-up, it goes out the window when you're there. They could have played anything and I would have had a good time. So really, it just so happens that they also played a great set. So
it was an hour and a half of Brick by Brick, and surely let's not be silly.
That's what Saturday got, didn't they? Was that not true? I can't remember.
No,
it wasn't true, was it? No. Bloody kids. Loved it. It was great. Perfect. And hopefully it won't be too long before we're doing another pre-post show gig. But if you are
extremely tempted by Hillsborough Park on that weekend.
Well, if you are listening to this and you're going to stay at home listening to them at Glastonbury in a couple of weeks on the 23rd of June, Friday night, if you're going to watch that at home, a few drinks, we're going to be watching it at home with a few drinks, doing a live YouTube event. Well, we're going to be watching it live, and you can come and join us. We'll be tweeting out the link. You can come and join us for a little while, and come and stay with us. I got it right. I got it right. On the
no, because he doesn't say.
All right,
he doesn't say come and join us for a little while, does he? But you're getting closer.
I'm getting closer. So come and join us, do that, interact with us, have a chat with us. Cool. Or if you're not, it'll be on there. Even if you're not, if you're watching it on another day, you can press play on that and watch it at the same time. Cool.
Brilliant. Thank you for tuning in. It's a special podcast. I mean, it's going to knock all the numbers out of kilter, but I've come to terms with that. It's fine because it's necessary content. Say goodbye to the nice people, Dan.
Goodbye, and thank you to the lads for a lovely evening.
Thank you, lads. Yeah, thank you, lads. More of the same, please. Oh, it says more of the same at the end of the outro that I'm about to play now. Bye. Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Nick Lee and Dan Holt. The music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM.
Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. And if you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We will see you next week with more of the same.